Hey, good morning. Welcome to the 5 a.m. Mr. Scrum Show. I hope you're doing well today. It is We Team Wednesday. I think I got my dates, my days of the week figured out. It is Wednesday. Yesterday, I thought it was Wednesday yesterday for a little bit. Then I realized no, it's Tuesday, and I got an extra day, and I was so excited. Anyway, I just want to welcome you to the show. Today, I want to talk about a little bit about team coaching and coaches. You got to bite your tongue, or I bite my tongue. Sometimes it hurts. I mean, it actually physically hurts mentally, and holding back your ego, and how to work with those team dynamics when you're coaching a team, especially if you have some points that are, I want to say, wrong, right, or pointed, or disrespectful. And how do you deal with that? So I want to talk a little bit about that, some thoughts on that, and my own examples of my own, because I want to bring some of my own stuff, my experiences, and we all mess up sometimes. It's okay. It's okay if you mess. We talk about forgive oneself, because that was one of the things. Forgive your teammates, and part of the team norms that I was suggesting as a recommended team norm. I would say forgive yourself as well when you do make mistakes, and there's always time to make up for it and to adjust for it. Anyway, 5 a.m. Master Scrum Show. I am Greg Messer, Scrum Master and Agile Coach. And here we talk about Scrum and Agile in a very practical and tactical way so you bring more value to your customers, not work crazy hours, bring that value and have a little fun along the way. And speaking of fun, I wanted to say why I got my new, I've been talking about for so long. I'm so happy I finally put the shelves up, or the extra shelf, the second level or shelf. You can see I study, right? I got all these books that I read. These are all my Agile books right here. On the lower level, the Agile books I have, and there's a couple. I had to look around, see if there's any more stashed around. And then the top ones are more business-oriented thought books that I've been reading lately. But there's fun stuff on there too. So I got my trains over here, some trains up there. That's for the future museum that I'm trying to build up. And one day that'll happen, and I'll invite everyone to it. What it is, maybe I'll give everyone a discount free ticket when we get the museum going. Anyway, enough of that. So let's get into the whole coaching thing, right? So the other day, two things occurred, and I wanted to share them with you, and some good things I messed up with, and some good things I didn't mess up with yet that I know of. So I was in a coaching group, two different events. One event was somebody wanted to make a point how important budgets were in Agile and Scrum. Even though I had to check my ego. See, my thing is I don't believe budgeting is that important in Scrum and Agile, to be honest with you. Its priorities is more important. How do you set up those priorities? What do you want to work on? Because typically you have a team that is a fixed budget. Anyhow, you already paid for it. The team's paid for. Unless you have cost reimbursement, that's a different story. But in the end, it's still a fixed cost. You want 10 people, you pay for 10 people. You want 5 people, you pay for 5 people. There's really no budget associated with that. You can say a budget, what percentage of that is 5 people or 10 people's time do you want to spend on a project? But typically the people are already paid for unless it's cost of reimbursement. So anyway, it was brought up, we got to really have a budget and all this kind of stuff. And I told the person, I told him that I said in the meeting, and I saw the look in the face, and I'm like, oh. I said, well, budgets really aren't that important in an Agile framework. I said, what's really important is prioritization, the ability to have a budget, pays for everything. And the person was a little caught off, and I realized that I kind of stepped on some toes in the process of bringing that update or the knowledge increase to the process. And the problem was I did it in a team environment with other people in the room. So I think the person felt a little bit, showed off or like you have to be very careful nowadays, right? People are very sensitive. And as a team coach, you have to be sensitive. I probably messed up. I may have, I got to forgive myself. You make mistakes. You're human, right? Sometimes when they harp on something, they're like, look, you got to stop. At some point, it's like you got to bring it down. There's other techniques I could use. I got to work on myself for how I might address that. So next time I get somewhere someone's saying something maybe incorrect, it's like maybe we should discuss that a little bit, right? So rather than correction at that point of correction and letting my ego take over, it would have been better to say, okay, that's a good point. Let's talk about budgeting and agile teams a little bit. And then you bring it down into let's have a discussion on how that works. And you bring it up. I know there's a time limit and taking up people's times. And sometimes I get you get frustrated on the agenda and the facilitation, and you want to get the team through all these discussions and everything like that. But sometimes you got to stay in the moment or keep your mouth shut, bite your tongue. So what I should have done was I should have expressed, because we didn't have the time. So there's two ways. If you have the time, then you can talk about budgeting and agile. If you don't have the time, you say, that's a great point about budgeting, and I think we can have a longer discussion with that in a group setting, so everybody can learn about budgeting and agile, right? And that would have cut off the conversation, right? It would acknowledge the point that was made. It wouldn't be me correcting that point or making my opinion known as a coach on budgeting and what we're at, because we have a fixed team. So I made a mistake, but I got to forgive myself. But you got to be careful on biting your tongue on what you want to say. And you got to think about it for a while. How do I want to engage with this conversation, even though the conversation is going in a correct direction? So that's one example. So there's an example of how to handle that. You need to bite your tongue for a second. Okay, it's going in the wrong direction. And you need to practice these scenarios in your brain. And I need to practice these scenarios on teams. That's why I like coaching teams as well as doing classes and writing stuff and commenting and doing this stuff here, because it keeps my game alive, right? Now, the other point that you have to be careful of, and I think I did okay in this event, someone wanted to make a comment and put me down, me as the coach, disrespect me as a coach or whatever, or act like I don't know anything, even though I have 35 years of experience doing this stuff. And I kind of want to go, dude, I've been doing this for 35 years. I know what it means. And the person made a reference to, oh, why don't you go look it up in a dictionary? Oh man, my blood pressure, if you knew my blood pressure, just went right through the roof on that one. But I bit my tongue. I didn't respond. I didn't go like, I know what the F it means. You know what I mean? I said, the purpose was when I asked the question, I wanted you to do something, or you need to do something with the team. That's why I brought it up. I don't need clarification. I didn't ask the question like, I don't know what the word means. I'm not my son who's in 5th grade, right? So, but I bit my tongue. So that place, I properly did it and didn't respond to the shot that was taken across the bow. Now, do you leave it at that? No. Do you bring it up in a team setting and say, what the hell was that? I didn't appreciate that. No. You know what? You let it go. You let it go off the back, let it roll off your back and go. But you do need to follow up. And that's something I am doing. I'm going to follow up with the person with the one-on-one and have a discussion and find out what this angst is between him and I, right? And find out where this is going. And I got a feeling they don't like change, that they're taking it out of me and this and that and stuff. So no, I don't really care. To be honest with you, I don't care about what you do. That's me. I'm just, it's like, if you, I'm not here to prop you up or take you down or anything like that, or put a threat into you. But I do want to have a cordial discussion. Like yesterday, when I said something about treating your teammates as your customer, I want that attitude to go through the whole team, but I need to follow it with a one-on-one. So it's good I bit my tongue, but now as a coach, I do need to follow up, because my job is not to let it keep going. And I don't want to correct the person in the team environment, because that would be bad. But I do need to meet with them one-on-one and be brave enough. This is tough part. Now, this is the tough part. I'm going to tell you. So there's two tough parts. And the one tough part is biting your tongue and holding your ego back, right? They may insult you. They may call you something. They may not know something, and your ego is telling you, you need to correct it right now. You don't need to correct it right now. You don't need to correct it in the team meetings. I remember I make mistakes. Sometimes I do correct things, and I got to follow up with them and do a better job at correcting that. Whether it be educational information, talk about that part that I wanted to do that I should have done, or in this case, biting my tongue and let the shot go and not worry about. But I do need to follow up on a one-on-one and make sure they understand that I didn't appreciate the comment and kind of talk about what's driving this anger, these shots, and explain why I asked the question and how I did it, or have them have a conversation about it. Now, if they don't want to have the conversation and they refuse to have the coaching session, then that's another story. Then you can go into the whole, they do it again and they have this angst and they don't want to sit and do a one-on-one and have a conversation with you, or try that a few times. Try it a few times. Don't just do it once. Do it multiple times. Say, I really like to have a conversation about discussion that happened yesterday in whatever session you were in, whatever team group you were in, and really talk and give some specifics. Don't be general. Don't beat around the bush. I'd like to talk about it and see what's driving that, right? There's ways to write it. Write it down. Don't send it right away. Write it down. Sleep on it. Come back. Read what you want to write and why you want to have the discussion before you send it off in an email. So it's bite your tongue. Hold your time. Do not say anything. Don't correct. Find a better way to find an opportunity, suggest an opportunity, a point where you can talk about the issue and more, especially when you're tight on time, because we always have these tight meeting times, that you want to come back and have a group discussion on something, like in the case it was budgeting, right? So I would say, that's a great point. Maybe we should have a conversation on budgeting. I'll set up a time. We'll meet as a group and we'll talk about agile budgeting and how it works. But that's something that interests everyone. They can join if they want. They don't have to, whatever you want to do. So then you have to be really careful, because now you're going to teach it and you can have a discussion. How you can have the discussion without correcting people in a group session. Then they can repeat the process again. So I wanted to share that with you, because we do make mistakes as agile coaches. I make mistakes as agile coaches. Some days are good, some days are bad. Everything, you're better off biting your tongue if you're on the border. Hold your ego. Don't say it. Even though, like my case, you have been doing this for 35 years, pretty much done every job in this organization, that there has been there in every shape, form. Maybe I'm not up to date on the most modern techniques, but I've seen enough, done enough, worked enough teams that I have a good feeling of it. But I got to hold my ego back. You can't go saying how authoritative you are in the group, right? There's ways to do it. So bite your tongue, coaches. Do not say stuff in public. Do not try to correct during the session. My offer is say, that's a great point, and maybe we should do a follow-up session and talk about X and this and a thing, and maybe we can write something up. Maybe you can produce a paper and we'll work together on it. We'll talk about it as a group. We'll do a pitch together or something like that. Promote their thought process. So, and then again, if they take a shot at you and belittling you, bite your tongue, follow up, write your email that you want to have a discussion or engage with them one-on-one. If you have a good enough relationship, usually when you have those people that bite at you, you don't have a good enough relationship, which I acknowledge. Just write the email, sleep on it, and then send it to set up a meeting to talk about the issue. Okay. Don't invite everybody in the brother. Do not invite their bosses, have that discussion. So it's a one-on-one to build that trust between the two of you. With that, I want to say, have a great day. Happy scrumming. I'm going to try to release something tomorrow from an interview perspective. I got a couple of people I'm trying to get together. And then next week we have Carl Freiberg. He's going to talk about goal setting. And I am going to do a webinar on using OKRs to help manage your goal setting for yourself in an agile framework and how you can do that. So I'm going to introduce that. I'm going to do a webinar. It's going to be a couple hours. I think in the next month or so, I'm going to do that. It's part of the new quarter so people can practice and prepare for it. And we'll see. Okay, everyone, have a great day. See you tomorrow. Take care and take care. Bye.